Hi, my name is Tshepang BASUPI. I'm from Botswana, and I'm a missionary. And I'm a missionary mainly because of an encounter I had with God in 2009 at LSM. So prior to going to LSM, I had a friend of mine, Ndiko Muzila, who introduced me to LSM. She actually told me that there was this Ghanaian missionary, I didn't know who that was, who is running this missions training in another part of Botswana, 1,000 kilometers from the city, and that it's a great training that I should consider going. But I said, that sounds very interesting, except I don't have accommodation in that place. She was like, oh yeah, you're right. There's no accommodation, they don't offer accommodation, but how I wish you could go, because I believe you're a missionary. But interestingly, the following night, she came to me running and saying, you will not believe this. This year there's accommodation. It so happened that Pastor Ray that very night sent Ndiko a message saying, this year we have accommodation in LSM. Do you have any people in the university? That cannot be a coincidence. That was God. And that's how I ended up at LSM in 2009. And for 6 weeks, sat down and heard for the first time that there were millions of people leaving and dying without hearing the gospel. But going through this training, I just convinced myself, maybe I'll just pursue my career, I'll just do politics, and maybe I'll support missionaries, until the very last week when I was nominated as the key emerging leader. I don't know what Pastor Ray saw. Every week there was someone leading, and then they gave me a book, Revolution in World Missions. And as I was reading through the book and reflecting on that week, on that 6th week, one of those evenings I knelt down and I surrendered my dreams and I said yes to God that I will be a missionary. And it has been an interesting journey over the last 16 years, serving the Lord as a missionary in different capacities. But that started at that place in LSM. And I just often feel like that year in 2009, God provided that accommodation just for me, because He wanted me to be involved in His mission. And He orchestrated everything. And that just began the journey for me to serve the Lord in global missions. So over the last 15 years, I've done different things, done a bit of church planting in Nigeria, and then went back to Botswana to lead a mission organization. I was the director of Capro in Botswana, training missionaries from across Southern Africa, helping plant churches among the San people, and doing lots of mobilization in Botswana. And then in 2017, we moved to South Africa, where we basically continue to do the same thing, but now under the umbrella of Africa Inland Mission. And over the last 4 years, I've been serving as the Africa Inland Missions Director for Southern Africa, overseeing AIM's work across the region and leading a team of about 135 missionaries placed across the region, and just seeing what God is doing across all of these places. But everything started at that LSM, because before then I'd never heard of people living and dying without hearing the gospel. I'd never met a missionary. But now I have the joy of not just recruiting and mobilizing missionaries, but leading missionary teams as they take the gospel to the nations. My heart and my dream is to see Africa that is filled with many, many missionaries. Many. I'm praying and trusting the Lord for 1 million tent makers, 1 million African missionaries that will take the gospel to the nations of the earth. We have over 200 million evangelical Christians in Africa. 1 million is just a tiny bit. That's what I'm trusting the Lord for, even as we walk into the future. Blessings.